Hello, guys. So there's guys in the audience already talking. We've got our usual suspects, Mr. Mike Pierce and Mr. Brad Mabry. And we've got a female for this particular show. I know there was people saying, why is it always guys? So we have Lisa here, who is badass, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce your surname, so I'd get it horrendously wrong, Lisa. But it's not that bad. Parziale, is that right?
Yeah, Parziale.
Parziale. So Lisa is today's special guest, and Lisa has got some amazing stuff to share with the audience. If you do have questions, make sure you do put them in the live chat. But Mike, the focus for today is, what were we going to call it?
We are going after 3 freaking secrets, right? Is what we're going after. And so I got to meet Lisa back in October 2019. It was the first time I was able to meet her face to face. It was in Anaheim with Dory and a bunch of other people. Craig was there. That's where I met you too, Craig. Unfortunately, I already knew Brad. But that comes with the territory for me, unfortunately. So today, we really wanted to get into how Lisa's made the money she's made online. I know she's one of the $1 million club for sure. I don't know what the numbers are, but I know it's more than one. And I kind of wanted to just jump into and see. So how'd you get started online, Lisa?
Yeah, I don't want to date myself, but I started doing stuff back in the days of DARPANET in the military. And when I get out, I started working for electronics and that kind of thing, just worked my way up. But really, I didn't start an agency or get into the SEO space or the digital marketing space till around 2011, because my job sucked. I was in corporate America. I wanted out. And so that was my exit strategy, right? And so right around 2011, I would say I got into it and mainly stumbled on something like this, stumbled on some experts that had something for me that I could sink my teeth into. And as they say, the rest is history.
Right on. 2011, I took a break. I think from 2010 to 2012, I decided not to work for a little while and just played with my daughter at SeaWorld. So I had some bots going on in the computer. I bought like 12 IBM Think Centers off lease, put VMware on each one, and had that thing botting.
How much did that cost to set up, by the way, Mike? I've never asked that.
It was $200 a box, and the KVM switch was maybe a couple $100. So
that's not bad.
Maybe under $4,000. And then that took care of 2 years worth of income plus whatever was coming in at the same time. So creativity is key. And I know that Lisa's been really creative with how she's created her revenue streams and everything. Because I know that she's not limited. You're not limited to agency work, lead generation, affiliate, kind of like Brad and I and Craig, where you have your hands in a lot of different things, don't you?
We do. We actually even own a print company. So we own 3 different companies. Obviously, we have the agency where, like you said, we do everything. We own a print company where we have a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And then we also have, I hate to call it a training company because we don't do the standard training, but, we definitely have mentor programs. And we don't do a ton of that. But, for some people that'll come in, we'll do stuff like that. And we'll run a couple programs a year, and that's really about it.
Awesome. So I guess really quickly, does anyone have anything that was interesting over this last week that they looked at when they were doing their campaigns? Anything strike anyone up here as interesting in the last 7 days? There was.
He's been suspension happy lately, from what I've noticed, especially in certain countries. Yeah, but it goes with the update.
They've been network happy too. I know some people that had like a lot of flags thrown on some of their stuff for SEO. I've been looking at lead form ads a lot. Lisa, do you do any paid advertising in your client work and in any of your businesses?
Yeah, we do a little AdWords, little Facebook.
Do you? Have you used the lead form ads for anything that Google's got out there for you? No? I'm looking at them. I haven't used them yet. I'm interested in them because there's a little bit you can do, and I like the data cap. So with lead generation, are you actively running lead generation right now for anything? Or do you do mostly contract work for your clients, or?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because we molded into a different sort of company over the last year. So we used to just do straight up SEO, and then we dabble a little bit in lead gen. but now we've kind of turned a page, so to speak. And now I'm just building a lot of funnels and a lot of lead gen systems for clients because they work for me and I made tons of money doing it. So I thought, well, why not offer this to clients? And instead of, attracting the $2,000 and $3,000 a month clients, now we're able to get the 10, 20, and even we have a $50,000 a month client. So, just changing into the lead gen space, but not the traditional, right? So we spend the money on ads to get them to the sites, but then the sites really make the money for them.
Right. So with getting into those higher clients, I don't know if that's my internet or your guys. It could be mine because mine's always crappy out here. But getting into clients, I know with Brad and I, when we've done larger pitches with larger legal teams, are you seeing a lot of that coming up now as you're doing the bigger pitches with longer contract pitch times and longer lead times to closing those contracts at all?
Yeah, I mean, we don't go after big customers. We're definitely still more in the niche, small mom and pops, the small companies. But yeah, pre-COVID, I mean, man, we were just killing it. You could get on a call with somebody and close them right on that call. And it was great. Post-COVID, you just really got to work it a lot more. And I think the life cycle of closing has gone from, maybe on the call to a week. So people are just taking a lot of time to think through these decisions. So we're probably looking at 3 to 4 weeks. And our close rate was probably in the 70s, and now it's kind of down in the 60s. We're not hearing a lot of no's. We're just hearing okay, let me think about it. And I think what the space is doing is a lot of these people are, they need a solve, they need a fix, but they're afraid. So they're waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a lot of fear right now.
Yeah, if we can get, we had I call it the nice summer break, right? So COVID, it sucked. And then all of a sudden people got a little more bold and we started doing stuff. I saw a lot more closing. We got a lot more leads. And then sure enough, all the scare stuff with the election, the flu's coming and we all need to hunker down and, go, I don't know if you've been to the store, but toilet paper's become a problem again.
Oh, I haven't noticed that.
Yeah, so I call it like the toilet paper close, right? So the minute toilet paper's off the shelves, closing gets a lot harder.
Yeah,
it's true though. What's funny is I'm on a little side note, as I told my mom 2 years ago when shit fell apart, toilet paper was disappearing. She calls me up the first time this happened this year and goes, you know what, you were right about the damn toilet paper. So Brad and I always talk about diversification. So I like what I'm hearing from your message when you're talking about these 3 secrets, talking about lead generation, talking about having a printing press, talking about whatever the business might be, talking about doing client work. We've always looked at it like, you absolutely have to diversify, because I don't know about you, but I look at failure as the stepping stones to like success and greatness, right? So I know I failed my ass off in my business life, trying different shit. Some of it's worked for a while, some of it fucking fell on its ass, right? So for you, how's that journey been? Because there's a lot of newer people in here too, and they're looking for direction, they're looking how to go forward. So I think touching on, kind of how you had the idea to leave, corporate America, work for yourself. Because there's people in here that have specifically asked me, where do I invest my money at this point right now? I want to get out of my day job and be done with it. Of course, I'm telling them, don't leave your day job yet. If you got a job right now, keep the damn income, work your ass off. It's not labors of love are a joke, man. That's what you do once you have made money and you're secure, right? That's when you get to do your labors of love. Not that you can't like what you do, because I love what I do, but it's important to work your ass off to get to where you go. So when you started thinking about leaving corporate America, how'd you start doing that? How'd that thought process go for you?
Yeah, I'll be honest. It was tough. I mean, I was making $140K a year, which to me now is nothing, but back then it was huge, right?
It's a big decision.
Yeah, it was a big decision. And honestly, I just decided that instead of watching American Idol at night, instead of doing some of the shit I was doing, getting up in the morning and just dorking, so to speak, I decided to take like 2 hours, 3 hours a day and just say, look, I'm going to do this thing. And like you said, Mike, I mean, I failed miserably a couple different times. What I failed to do was take action. And I was so much in my head. So if I could give one secret, one tip, is you got to get out of your head. You've got to figure out, why are you stuck in that job? Well, I'll be quite frank, because, I don't know, like Craig, you're across the world, but I bet this happened the same way for you. from the minute I could remember, I was told, go get a job equals security. A job is going to pay your bills. They're going to take care of you. They're going to help you with your retirement. A business is risky. Don't go do that. Yeah. And so I had all that baggage, with me. When I got rid of that baggage, that's when things took off. And I eventually got laid off from my job, because it's funny, when you started working on your business, you got excited. I started sucking at my job. Yep. Because I worked from home and I'd rather be working on my stuff than their stuff. So I started becoming a horrible employee, so to speak. And eventually they said, hey, you got to go. And that was great. I got 9 months of severance, but if you're not in that position,
the way to do it.
Yeah, it was luck, right? But if you're not in that position, I would say save up enough money, like do whatever you could. Like if you start your business and it starts bringing in money, don't go buy the boat, don't go buy the car, don't go buy the toys. Take that money, put it aside, and get yourself, and excuse my language, but go get your fuck you money in the bank. That way you say, oh, I got 6 months now, I can start my business. Because I'll tell you, I don't need 6 months now. I know you guys probably don't. In the beginning, though, I would have needed that 6 to 12 months to get a business going. Now, if you take everything away from me, within 12 weeks, I could have.
Absolutely. I love that.
Started back up again. And I could probably have $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month coming in. I mean, it's just not, once you figure it out, you figure it out. So I would
it's like what Brad says. It's like when people ask, okay, so if you had this, how would you do this and move forward? Well, it's really easy for Brad to go like, well, I'd buy, I'd do this right here with these GMBs right here. And I would have, within a month, I'd have 5,000, 10,000 of revenue coming in from this. But until you know what's going to work in those formulas, that's a scary damn leap to make from, I
got to know the rules of the game before you can play.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think what's important, and I'm sure everyone here has done the same thing, is, when I first got in the space, I knew how to build websites. That's what I knew how to do. And so I thought, well, I'm going to be a web designer and I'm going to go out there and do that. Well, really quick, I realized that I'm going to have to build a lot of websites to make what I need to make. So you have to look for that recurring residual income. Sure, the websites, I still make tons of money on websites. I probably make, $500,000 a year on websites, but that leads me to something else. That gets the SEO customers in the door. That gets me my other opportunities. So do what all of us probably did, and that's invest in something and find somebody that's transparent, that's real, that's not blowing smoke up your ass. I mean, that knows what they're doing and does it. Nothing worse than, a guru. Like, you guys all do what you talk about, and I found a fella, you may or may not know the name, Kevin Wilkie. I took my first course with him while I was on a Mediterranean cruise. And I learned, this thing called residual income, like SEO, like what is that? I mean, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't really know. That's in 2011. And now, I had a guy last year pay us $50,000 a month for 8 months to do his SEO for him. Yeah. And because of a little course that I invested $697 in. So it doesn't matter what you do. Invest in you. You have to invest in yourself.
I think that's
go ahead, Craig.
I was going to say, I think investing yourself is the key thing. I always come across guys who say, Craig, you're crazy. Like, why go to NFG Rockstars, for example? Is that a jolly up? Is it a piss up? And I'm like, you guys have no idea what I'm learning. If I take 2 or 3 things away from, whether it be Lisa, Mike, Brad, or someone else, and I'm pretty sure I get more than that, then it's massively valuable. But I also think what Lisa said as well, I love a guy called Robert Kiyosaki who says, we're educated in a way to think poorly. And obviously he's saying, don't work for money, make money work for you. And it does take you a lot of pain and discomfort to then realize that is the way to go forward and take that action. And I still pinch myself today going, I fucking can't believe I'm making good money doing stuff. Like, I'm not this, brains of Britain or, university educated. I just try shit out and blow shit up. And, as you guys have said, I've had many more failures than I've had successes. So I think, it boils down to right at the start. Poor mindset is where it's ingrained from a very early age.
Yeah, when you talk about the mindset, I think anyone, that investment, that you said $679 or something like that. When you take that in and then that is magnified, like you're the magnifying glass, and it comes in and you're putting that out as a $50,000 recurring contract for 8 months. This is the importance of staying a student and learning from everyone around you. Like when Craig says going to NFG Rockstars, if he learns one thing from Brad, if he learns one thing from Lisa, one thing from Dory, one thing from Corey, I mean, that's a lot of shit to learn, you know. Even if he takes away one item, I'll tell you, I can guarantee you everyone talking right now has talked to someone, had one single idea, and then made thousands of dollars off of that idea from a conversation they've had with someone else. And that is how it works. And that's why I've always told employees and colleagues, pick up the phone, talk to people, network, and use canvassing strategies where you're helping other people out, because as you help those people out, you're also learning. So that help, you might not get anything directly in that return, but you are going to have a solid ally, and you are going to learn someone from an intelligent person that you're interacting with. And we all know that you are the people that you surround yourself with. And to go into this next question, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And say being powerful is like being a lady. If you have to tell somebody you aren't, and that's Margaret Thatcher. So what I want to know is who you surround yourself with. And even though that didn't fit the quote, we're going with that question.
Hey, look,
on a day-to-day basis,
bound to get it in there.
Yeah, she's a powerful lady. She doesn't have to tell anyone. I surround myself with people who are smarter than me, and that's from like when we go to Rockstars, for example, right? You know, Craig said it best. You go to these events and you meet people, and a lot of people think that the speakers, you know, when we're up there speaking on stage, we have all our shit together. And yeah, we have some of our stuff together, but we can always learn from someone else, right? And if you do get that one nugget, like the problem is a lot of people will put so much in their head and they think they have to go on act on all of it. Just act on one thing. Like figure out the one thing. Go buy the book, The One Thing. And basically it says, you know, what's the one thing today that you could do that would move the needle? Go do that and forget everything else. Everything else is nonsense, right? So surrounding yourself with smarter people. When you hire people, you know, I used to be afraid that I don't want to hire someone that's better than me. You know, I mean, I should be the leader, but no, a good leader says, look, that's my weakness. That's the first position I need to go find and fill. That's the first person. So yeah, I would say I surround myself with successful people, smart people, but most importantly, positive people that are moving in forward direction, because I want to get on that bandwagon. I don't want to be around people that are negative Nellies. You know the type. And sometimes that's your spouse, sometimes that's your family, and it sucks. I mean, you know, you could tell people all day long, get rid of all the, you know, negative in your life, but who's going to get divorced over it, right? No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, so the job is not. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, surround yourself with other people so that one person who is negative, it's kind of like it's going to wash that away a little bit.
Exactly, and the job is not to cut people out, but you can actually enhance those people. And for those that are married, we know that we take on the traits of the people that we're around, that we consummate that marriage with, or that relationship with, and that's always that can be positive and negative in aspects, but you can easily make that a positive. And one of the important things to remember is that if you have someone in your life that is continually telling you can't do this, it's your job to show them that you can't. So I started in like 2001, and my wife didn't stop working in her career until 2010. That's 9 years where she continued to work because she saw the ups and downs, and it takes time to prove that you can actually do something. I mean, it takes 10,000 hours and 10 years to master something. A business is not successful till after 10 years. You know, the first year, you're losing 80% of them, and then in the first 5 years you're losing the other. There's 1% makes it 10 years, right? So persistence and looking at those failures as those stepping stones and not the end of what you're doing. If you go out there and try once and fail, you're not meant to do this shit. I'm just telling you right now. So if that's kind of where your mentality is, if you're in the audience, change that mentality, because failure should not shame you at all. I won't trust a person who says they've never failed, because they're either fucking lying to me or they haven't tried, you know? And it doesn't make sense. Yeah, there's successes out there, but they failed in something else that they're not thinking about, you know? If they're adamant they've never failed, there's something wrong there. And that's a good thing to look at. And I kind of don't judge people on it, but that's how I kind of evaluate if someone's being truthful with me when I'm trying to do business with them. But I'm looking for the failures they've had more than the wins, to be honest with you. So it's important. And we're talking about recurring revenue streams, which is extremely important. I had a conversation with a gentleman that does agency work and some affiliate stuff. And that led to the fact that he said, I haven't worked all summer. I said, how's business? He goes, I got to start working again, man. I haven't done anything all summer. I've just been playing. No, it wasn't Tim. It was fucking Corey, dude.
Oh, really? Nice.
And I go, yeah, you should start working. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna start working again. He started working again about a week ago. He doesn't mean he's not working. I guarantee you he's working more than someone in a day job. But when you're used to working, 2 days for every damn day that someone else works, it feels like you're not working if you're only putting in 40 hours a week or whatever, So, but on that note, recurring income makes a huge difference. I don't go to bed in fear because I have more than one revenue stream. And those revenue streams pay me whether I do something or not. So I can get sick, I can be ill, I can be in an accident, and either the networking I've done with partners and colleagues is going to carry me through that, or a stream that is there that takes barely any input is going to carry me through that. So I don't know, do you have anything that you would consider one of your favorite types of streams that you would suggest someone new work towards? That's a hard one. I mean, it really is.
It's not hard for me. I just got to pick one. And I think my all-time favorite is just because it's so simple and everyone can do it, but everyone's afraid of it. And so if you're a website designer and you do a lot of websites, or even if you're an SEO and you just have customers who have websites, literally I almost make as much a year now on hosting as I did when I worked a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
So hosting a website seems like, man, who's going to pay me for that? But we get anywhere from $45 to $75 a month for hosting.
It's crazy what people agree to when you throw out a number.
It's the easiest thing to sell too, because remember, when you're selling, and sales is probably the number one thing I'm really good at. When you're selling somebody hosting, you simply have to put the fear of God into them in a really nice way. And so people say, well, I could host it at GoDaddy for $2. Yeah, you could. And you can take and you can put it on a shelf, and that's where they're going to put it. And if it falls off the shelf, they don't care. You're renting space to put something. There's no security. There's nobody watching it.
Yeah, wait till it gets hacked the first time.
Yeah, and it's going to get hacked. Instead, what you need to do is have someone like us. We're going to go in, and every month we're going to make sure it's okay. We're going to back it up. We're also going to give you, we'll give you a free half hour of little mini maintenance stuff. Now, that's no big deal. We can find, we have a VA that does that little bitty stuff for next to nothing. And, so every year when I see that line item, my CPA sends me your numbers and I see that line item, I just jump for joy. And, at first it was 30,000, and then it was 40,000, and then it was 80,000 a year. And when it started creeping up to 120 a year for hosting, like, dude, I used to work my ass off for 140K in corporate America, where there was backstabbing craziness and a commute 12 hours a week.
I wouldn't be able to make it in corporate America because I would end up fighting people.
Yeah,
probably.
Once you leave, you can't go back. I don't know if you guys are the same, but I think we're unhireable now.
We
get to the point to where you would get fired. I would get fired within a week of working a job.
I actually, one time we were deciding to move to a different state, and so I just went out. I did an interview, and they started asking me questions, and they just told me, man, they're like, you worked for yourself way too fucking wrong. There's no way we'll hire you, bro. And this is like 10, 12 years ago, but it's true. You get to a point where even if you have everything that they want to see, once you've been to a certain point in this, they are going to realize that they cannot control you the way that, and that's not a like oppressive control I'm talking about, but they're not going to get out of you what they want. There is a chain of command, and that chain of command in a corporation has to be followed, just like it has to be followed when we're in the military, right?
It's a game.
And if
that
chain of command cannot, it absolutely is. And honestly, once you get to a certain point, I do think you're past being at the lower levels of that chain of command. Now, that doesn't mean you can't work under someone when you're at this level. It just means you're not going to fit in the corporate structure that's there. You might have to be one level removed, but that's hard to walk into, so that's a different story. Chain of command wise, in your businesses, how do you distribute your your task load and who do you have that's right there with you that helps you get done with your day?
So we started using an acronym in our company and everything we do. We call it the CXO, right? And I know now, now people say, oh, that's the chief excitement officer. Now we call it the chief X officer, right? X is everything you want. X is the cars you want, the money you want, the marriage you want, the family you want, the dream you want, right? Yep. My job to run my business, I didn't start a business because, ooh, I like to work, right? I started a business because I wanted a lifestyle. I didn't want to, answer to the man. I didn't want to work the hours. So for us, what's extremely important is to be a leader of your company. And it took me 8 years to surpass the $3 million mark. And, that's a lot of money to make in a year. And when you pass that mark, what you realize really quick is you could have been there so much earlier. So when you look back and I say, what was the biggest mistake I made? I just worked in my business. I was constantly, I'll do that myself and I'll do this myself. So the number one thing we do is everybody in our businesses and all three of our companies, they all have to be independent thinkers. They all have to want more in life than just a job and hours. We don't hire full-time. We actually only hire people who own their own companies and want to get bigger with their companies. And frankly, we hope they leave us. We tell them that. Because everybody has a role in the company, but me, right? My job is not to work in my company. My job is to come up with big ideas and then pass those off. My job is to figure out what our next vehicle is. And it's like you said, Mike, you can't, when you get comfortable thinking, I can just keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this, something's going to happen. I mean, how many of us could have dreamed this whole COVID stuff up, right? I mean, Hollywood, is the only people going to dream this up.
The closest I've seen to it is, I feel like, A Handmaid's Tale. Like, this is the closest. Yeah. That's the closest show I've seen.
Exactly it. I mean, preppers are celebrating right now, right?
Yeah,
because their families are finally looking at them going, "Yeah, you weren't so stupid." But you have to pivot. And like when COVID hit, while other people were losing customers and struggling, we got excited. Yeah, I had my pity party. I think everyone here probably did. Everything was going great. I was about to build my brand new house on the lake. So it was really personal reasons why COVID pissed me off, but I just pivoted. And this year we'll definitely make more than we did last year. And that was the only goal I had this year. So 2020, if I can make more than I made last year, then in my mind, I am a success, right? I didn't lose money. So I think, Mike, the answer to the question is, as a business owner, don't look at how much you can make and how many hours you have, because that's a mistake, or you're going to work 80 a week.
Yeah, exactly.
More. Yeah. So if you could build a website for $2,500, which is cheap, right? So if you could build a website for $2,500, you could build 4 a month. You just made $10,000. But if I could build a website for $2,500 and pay somebody overseas $500 to actually do the work, I've just made $8,000, but I've done nothing.
Right.
So which one's better, working 180 hours a month and making $10,000, or working 20 hours a month and making $8,000?
What I would say is, I don't think I typically take more than 33% of the revenue of anything I do, even if I'm the one that brings it in, because there typically ends up being a split with people. I mean, I have a partner I work with all the time that I split with, but but also that a lot of the time we're doing this and we're leveraging someone else's relationship. So there's even more revenue going out. But guess what? That ends up in less work, more revenue, and more time for me. So I would much rather take 33% of something than nothing, or 100% of it and have no time. So it's definitely a lifestyle choice. Some people, balance is important to me. Some people would rather be working. I do enjoy my work, and there's not many things I'd rather be doing than working, but it is important to balance everything. So having that time. What's that?
You like to dig a lot too.
I do like to dig.
Mm-hmm.
I love
one thing that no amount of money can buy is time. Your time back, and you only live once. And I don't mind telling the story, I nearly half killed myself running an agency because I built an agency surrounding my skill set. So I was working in the business, not on the business. I was a control freak, and I wanted everything to run through me. And it got to a point where it was just unscalable, and I was riddled with anxiety, stress. I just felt sick going to work every day. So obviously Lisa has figured that one out and sorted it out. And I think delegation and freeing up that time is a massive, massive part of everything that we want to try and do.
Yeah, and remember, like this is work right here. We're all working. Everybody on the call, everybody watching, presenters, we're working. So it's choosing what you want to do with your time, right? And I love working just like anyone else. And it's not that I don't work. I just know that if I want the things, the finer things in life, I'm going to be quite frank, you know, I like things. I like having security. I like having nice things and properties and houses and stuff. But I also need time to enjoy that stuff. And that's what happened to me. Just like everyone, you know, you start in your business and you're working. And one day you look up and 2 years have passed and you look out in your backyard and there's a boat that hasn't been on the lake in 2 years. And that's when, you know, for me, I had to say, look, enough's enough. I got to figure this out. So you'll have that moment where it occurs to you that, like Mike said, invest in people, invest in processes, invest in systems, you know, invest in outsourcing, whatever it is. It actually makes you more money. But like Craig said, I can always make more money, but I cannot make more time.
Yep. No, it's very true. And on that note, I want to know if anyone's out there that is working on agency work right now. If you're working on PPL work, I want to know what your questions are right now. Also, I want to get into what you've got going on right now. I did hear through the grapevine that you are teaching some people some stuff right now. So I want to know what that's about personally, because I always try the colleagues that I have around me, when they have information for me to learn, I like to learn it. So I'm interested in what you've got going on right now. We'll go back into some of the stuff you're doing in the side stuff, but what do you have going on right now that you're teaching people? So we talked about 3 secrets, and I don't want you to give away any secrets you can't give away right now, but if you have anything that will help anyone out there that's kind of getting started or maybe in a mid-level in their pathway and journey right now, anything that you think might help them would be really beneficial to them. So,
well, how about you guys graciously brought me here. How about if I spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes and I give you the 3 secrets?
Well, there we go. No, that would be rad. Yeah.
So, and I'm all about giving, right? So yeah. So as you said, Mike, we do have a program. We just started a group of people. We call them fast trackers. And essentially we get together and we try to figure out how to solve their problems so they can achieve their success, right? We call it our X success, because X means something totally different to everyone else, right? Some people want more money. Some people want more time. Some people just simply, you know, want to leave their day job. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're running an agency, there's some simple things, and we call them the 3 secrets because they were the 3 biggest things that I had to figure out. And the minute I figured out these 3 things, that's when I was able to make that statement that take it all away from me today and I can have it back in 12 weeks. Sure, I probably couldn't have $3 million back in 12 weeks, but I'd be well on my way, right? So what took you 8 or 10 years to create the first time might take you 8 to 12 months to create the second time. And so our 3 secrets are pretty simple. So the number one thing is lead gen, right? If you don't have enough people to buy your stuff, I don't care if it's products, if it's websites or SEO, I don't care what you're selling. If you do not have enough incoming people, it makes it much harder. But a secret we really add to that. So your lead gen, a lot of people, they'll cold call or they'll buy systems or they're trying to find an easy button. The easiest button in the world is don't go after the biggest thing you can right away, right? Think about McDonald's. Think about when you see a commercial and you go to the store, they always get you in with something. And then when you get in there, they upsell you something else. You got to think about your business the same way. So why did we start a print company? We started a print company because we get people in the door with postcards, right? So we've got a method that we teach our students to wear with $5 postcards, right? So we're selling somebody a postcard for $5, $10, whatever. I have made $500,000 from one client first selling them $75 product. So for us, our systems are all about how do I create those lead generation systems automated that bring people in front of me, allow me to give them some small services, weed out the ones that don't want to work with, find the gems, and then they get into my funnel and we start moving forward. So that's secret number one. I mean, just having an automated killer lead gen system that you're not doing. You're not out there working your ass off trying to get customers. You've got it on autopilot. I'll tell you, our systems aren't, point and click easy. You can't come to our program and we just magically fix everything for you, because I always tell people, I'm not a savior. I'm simply a leader, right? I can tell you and show you what to do, but you still have to, actually do the work. The second secret we've already talked about, and that's you cannot work on your business. You have to be the CXO. The minute you can afford it, right? The minute you bring in money, even tell yourself the first 6 months, I'm not going to spend $1 on myself. I'm not going to pay myself. I'm not going to invest in myself. I'm going to invest in my business. The number one hire I ever made was an amazing project manager. Why? Because as a business owner, you're the project manager unless you hire someone to do it. So the first hire shouldn't be someone to build websites or someone to do the SEO or someone to do something else. It should be to replace you. And that sounds counterproductive. But even if I had to keep doing the work in the SEO and the websites and the PM came in to manage everything, I would still keep doing it that way. So that's important, being the CXO. And I mean it. And it's in your life and everything. You're in charge now. You're not dabbling, right? So a business owner works on their business. If you don't do that, you just have another job. And I'm here to tell you, I did it. I literally fell into that trap, and I was working 100 hours a week practically, and it sucks. So the CXO, you've got to be the leader of your business, and you have to make the tough decisions. And trust me, all this stuff comes because everything up here is what's screaming at us, don't do this and don't do that and don't, do the other. But let me ask you this, and let me put it into perspective. Everybody on here probably owns a car, and most of us finance that car, and it was no decision whatsoever to finance a car. But if I asked everyone here today, give me $10,000 and I can fix your business, most people say, well, I don't have the money. And if I said to you, well, go get a loan and finance that decision, most people on here would say, I'm not going to do that. So think about it. How are you thinking? I'll buy a car and finance that, but I will not invest in my own business. I won't put it on a credit card. I won't get a loan out. I won't take my own money and put it in. You fix that and you become the CXO and you'll succeed. And then the final secret, pretty simply, you have to take every customer you have and make them a gold mine, right? So quick story. I had a customer one day, I'm on the phone with them and they're going over all their, Google Analytics. And I was all excited. I'm like, wow. I mean, have you guys been posting a lot on Facebook? Because man, look at all these, big, spikes in your traffic. And the customer said to me, no, we hired a Facebook company and they're doing all our Facebook marketing now. Wow, embarrassing. We do Facebook ads. We do that stuff for our customer. How embarrassing is that my own customers had no clue what else I did? And so that's when I realized, hey, I've got a gold mine of customers, and it's important, almost imperative that I should sell them everything I have without fear, without guilt. Again, it was all up here like, oh, I'd be pushy. If I try to sell them something else, will they quit what they're already doing? No, if you're providing them crazy extreme value, you have to sell them everything else you have. The key to really increasing your LTV is to find systems to put it on autopilot, right? So if you've never heard of a funnel, that's something we really integrate into the program. We teach people about funnels and how they work, and every step you've heard, from the lead gen to the CXO to the LTV, everything's automated, systematic, and processed. So, that's my, what was that, 5 or 8 minutes?
I like that. Can you bring back up that question, Craig, that came up about the e-commerce? Because I do want to talk about e-commerce launch, especially with the 3 secrets that I'm going to preface all this with something. So Lisa has the 3 secrets. We brought Marco on, and he was talking about POFU. Brad and I do NFG, right? I want to point out that every business that is working that I know of has its own philosophy, and they create this philosophy and they live by this philosophy, right? So when you do that, when you create a philosophy and you live by it, you have a purpose that you can lead your tribe. Let's say it's your tribe, your company, whatever you want to call it. You can lead your tribe to survival, and that is success in the business world. That's survival. Surviving 10 years is success. You're 1% of people if you've survived 10 years in your business, right? So right here, what advice will we talk about on a launch with this? Well, let's go back to secret number 1, which is lead gen. One of the ways that we've launched e-commerce in the past, publishing websites in the past, one way we do it is through giveaways and contests that leverage social media to lower our budget and to bring in leads, bring in eyes. To me, eyes are leads when it comes to e-commerce. That list is your lead. That data cap is your lead. So for me, I would say formulate a plan where you are giving away the product, allowing to pull in some social proof on your product, allow people to talk about your product, see your product. There's many ways, if you know some of the tricks on how to market a contest, to grab hundreds of thousands of eyes. And when you're selling a product, those hundreds of thousands of eyes are all consumers, whether that's targeted traffic or not. Keep in mind on that launch that there is a way to pull traffic that is targeted without going out and spending only on targeted traffic, okay? So one of the things I've used in the past is contest marketing. Lisa, do you have any advice for someone launching a e-commerce product that they're gonna launch in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, viral contest marketing is a great way to do it without knowing about the product. I really couldn't, give specific, but something they said in there was, we haven't made any money yet, so we can't afford to invest in people to do this or to do that. Bingo, you're thinking like, your old self, and you need to become, you are the CXO, you are the business owner now. Again, if it were me and someone said, Lisa, I just took all your money away, but you can have all your things you already have, what would you do to start your business? If I had to sell the boat in the backyard, the cars in the garage, I don't care what it is. I need to get money so I can hire people to do the work because I don't have enough hours in the day, right? So you're spending all this time doing all this work yourself, and it's delaying your success. That's what I always tell people. You delay your success by not investing in yourself. Had I invested in myself earlier, I'm a 7-figure, business owner now. I'd probably be 8-figure easily.
I totally
that lesson. We'll never make it again. Even during COVID, how many people, the government was giving out cheap free money. Who took it? I took it.
I haven't. I didn't take it. I think my wife took it. I ignored it. My wife smartly took it. So
yeah, I took the money. Why? Because it's cheap money. I can invest that money and make way more money than the interest they were charging. Most rich people will tell you they never use their own money to do things. No. They use somebody else's money, because if you can take that money and double it, triple it, quadruple it, you can pay that money back with interest, and you haven't even taken out of your own pot. So to me, I would tell that person, stop. I mean, you're working your fingers to the bone when you should be the strategist. You should be worried about, like Mike said, the money's in the list. You've heard that from everybody else. It's the same with us. Our lead gen is the number one thing that made our business successful.
I want to point out something you said about not using your own money. My dad, when I was little, he told me never go buy a new car with your cash. Never go buy a home with cash. Always finance when you can finance. And this has come up again and again with people that I have that are mentors, they're amazing businessmen. There's no reason you should be using your own cash. If you are launching an e-commerce product and you are not financing what you can to get your budget where it needs to be, I'm sorry, but you are setting it up for failure. And that's a hard thing to say, but it is true if you're not willing to sacrifice on that. You earn what you have, and to become a business owner, take an example of someone wanting to paint walls. They think they can do it because they're good at painting freaking walls, right? Well, they're not thinking about the marketing that comes into it, the paying of the bills. They're not thinking about managing the employees, fulfilling the jobs. So there's always more to it. So if you're not looking at financing some sort of marketing, if you don't know how to do the contest marketing we're talking about, you need to hire someone that can do it. So this puts you in a place where you need to have enough money to not dabble. As Lisa said, if you're dabbling, you're not doing business, you're playing a game and you're screwing with your own mind and you're lying to yourself. So stop dabbling. And I'm not trying to be harsh, but I do think you need to really truly look at it and look at what you can invest in that will give you the greatest return. One of the lower cost ways to do that, of course, is going to be viral. It's going to be social. It's going to be finding a way to have people market for you and building brand advocates, as people call it, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, so, start reaching out to influencers, to be honest. You can get a lot of exposure just with free products. You don't even have to pay them, especially the ones, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 followers. Find those people, not like the people that are, way like millions of followers or whatever, but, reach out to those people, if it makes sense to do so.
I started a YouTube channel for a hobby business, maybe, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. I barely touched it because I don't have time to touch it, because it's like I said, it's a hobby business. It's a labor of love. It comes fucking last. I mean, it's not my main.
It's a hobby business, I feel like.
Right? No doubt, dude. But all I did was fucking go, okay, I'm going to buy this Steam key for this fucking video game because I want to market something that's along the IP. And I know that gamers are buyers and shit, and did some video and gave away the Steam key. And now the channel's at a few thousand subscribers for a $20 purchase. Or yeah, it was a $25, $24.99. Cost me $24.99 and 10 minutes of video recording time to make 4 videos and give away the fucking CD key. Get creative. If you're bootstrapping, I personally like to bootstrap. I enjoy bootstrapping. I hate spending money. I like to lower cost as much as I can. And if it's a hobby business, I'll bootstrap it because I'm not going to spend my own money on building something that I'm just doing to have time that I enjoy doing shit. So find something like that you can do, because they do work. There's no budget on that. That's a joke for me. It's a test. I'm running a test on YouTube and it's working, so you can find things. But with an e-commerce product, especially if you've paid money to develop this product, and that's how I think of it. If you're selling if you're just drop shipping, it's a different story. But if you developed an e-commerce product and you're saying you don't have the money to invest in marketing, then the budget's wrong on that whole campaign, in my opinion. So,
yeah,
Michael has a good one in it, and it fits in with what I'm reading right now, which is predictably irrational. I have a problem. How do you pull stuff up, Craig? Can you pull up Michael's, if possible?
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem I had as soon as I start to go into a new direction. Yeah. Basically hopping from each one, or, from one project to the other. And I heard it described in an event one time. It's like you're at one side of a river and you start building a bridge and you're like, never mind. And then you start building another bridge. You're like, never mind. Then you start building another. And eventually you could have built a bridge to get all the way across, where if you keep restarting bridges, then you're never going to get across. But predictably irrational, they do have a chapter in there that would help out. But it's basically, I would take a step back, really dig in and do the research on what you want to do, what's going to provide the best ROI, what you're good at, what you enjoy doing. Do that, get the cash flow going. And then as you do that, you're going to be more interested in that. And I find it unlikely that you're going to hop around nearly as much, so
it's a bigger problem when you're new. Yeah. Absolutely. Once the money rolls in, it's easier. Now, what I would suggest in your case, if you're finding this to be an issue you have a lot, there's a book,
and it is very common in this industry as well. So
it's extremely, it's analysis paralysis, or internet ADD, as I call it, right? And it's very easy to find ways to make money. It's just hard to implement through to the end. But once you implement to the point where you're pulling in cash, you start to get more interested in that project. So the goal is to get to that first paycheck for me always, and then I'm more interested in the project, right? But there's a book called Decisive. It's a good book. And it talks about leveraging other people in the decision-making process. So if you see something that interests you, straight up talk to somebody that knows the markets that you're in, and have them tell you what they think about the offer, and find someone that's going to tell you to fucking continue to focus. If you have there's not enough people talking about mentorship. There's not enough people talking about their colleagues and leveraging their colleagues. And if you have somebody that you can ask, you know, just throw it out there and have a check and balance for yourself. If you're finding something that's hard for you to break past, which is like Brad said with the bridges, eventually you've spent the money on the materials to build one bridge and you got fucking nowhere. Find someone that you trust in your life or that you can discuss this with that, you know, supports the idea of working for yourself and building businesses and entrepreneurship, and run that shit by them and let them tell you you're being fucking stupid. And don't get butthurt when they tell you it's a fucking bad idea. Stick with what you're doing, because we all make stupid fucking decisions sometimes, and we need someone to tell us we're making a stupid decision and to fucking put the brakes on, right? So excuse the language, but leverage who you have around you. And if it's not your spouse or whatnot, find someone find a colleague that can do it for you that you trust. I don't know, Lisa.
And Mike, I'm going to add on to that. So if you look at what Michael said, one of the things he said was, I immediately start thinking of everything that can go wrong and why I shouldn't get into that. So think about Thomas Edison when he was inventing the light bulb. There were people, I believe, in Europe who said, this guy's an idiot. He's crazy. This will never work. It's going to fail. They were publicly shaming him and telling him, you know, he was stupid. Sometimes it's all up here, right? So it sounds to me, Michael, like your fear is getting the best of you. If you fear failure, I'm going to tell you, it's going to happen. Everybody here has failed, right? Failed miserably. I've wasted money. I've wasted time. So I'm going to tell you right now, here's your permission. You're going to fail at least once, probably more. And guess what? That makes you normal, and it's okay. Yeah. And we all do it. So I agree with these guys. Pick something and then get tunnel vision on that something and at least see it through to either success or failure. And if it doesn't work, be quick to pivot and try something else. But if it does work, don't get distracted by shiny objects until you have something fully baked, right? I mean, that's really the key. We all have so much garbage in our head, so much baggage we carry around, that it's so easy to fail. It's very hard to succeed. The first thing you have to do, and I know this sounds kitschy and kind of crazy, but the first thing you have to do is believe in you and believe you can do it, because if you believe you can do it, it's possible. And so Mike said, hey, maybe it's a stupid idea. Trust me, I've seen some stupid stuff out there. Stuff that I'm like, oh my God, why are people buying this?
No, it's true.
They believed in it and they worked on it until they got it done. So, you know, there are no stupid ideas, but at the end of the day, you got to pick something, right? You know, put your, you know, stake in it and say, this is what I'm going to do. And then turn everything else off and say, right now, I'm not open to that. And I have stuff, I don't know about you guys, you know, jump in. I have stuff that falls in my lap all the time. Somebody wants to do a JV with me. Someone wants to do this with me. Someone wants to do that with me.
Every day, yeah.
And I have to say no. And it's probably a great idea. It would make me tons of money, but I have to say no. I've got to focus on the baby I'm working on right now, right? Or the thing I'm doing right now.
Yeah, if you've got a model that works well, I think you've got to stick to that. Don't spread yourself too thin. But going back to what Mike said, in terms of surrounding yourself with the right people or getting a mentor or a colleague, is something I feel that I stupidly didn't do earlier. You know, I was always like, I'm not sharing my shit with like Brad or whatever. He might steal my fucking idea or my niche or whatever. And when you actually start getting to know people and you talk to people all over the world, these guys can actually help. Like, you know, we came out to NFG, you know, Gary talks to Mike, they start doing business together, blah, 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 blah. They help each other, whatever. And you just never know who you're going to be surrounding yourself with, and talking to other people who are in this industry, who understand what you're going through. And I think that comes with a bit of pride. If you are a 20-something, you know, confident guy, you're not going to go and say, hey, I've had a failure here, I've had a shit idea, because you think it's your first go at it and your ego gets in the way. But as you say, it's who you surround yourself with. Get a mentor, and even, you know, just be honest. Just say, I'm crap at web design. Do you guys, can someone help me here? You know, or I've got a problem. This website's fucked. Help me out, guys. And I think you'll be very surprised at how open and helpful people are actually in this industry.
Yeah, ego is a huge fucking enemy to success, and really being able to ask for help is a freaking giant asset, because you never know who's going to have time to do it for you. And realistically, you never know what it's going to lead to, like Craig said. I mean, like Lisa was saying, Brad and I, and Brad himself, myself, Craig, everyone, we've had opportunity fall in the lap, you know, and that happens only when you are networking, when you are talking, when you are canvassing.
You put yourself out there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. I mean, it really is. So I would recommend making sure you always keep in mind the shiny objects are dangerous. Fear is absolutely dangerous. So if it is a fear thing, like Lisa was saying, because I can see that in that comment completely, you really do need to stop telling yourself what can go wrong, because Lisa already said it, dude. Who was predicting COVID? Shit can go wrong. My dad's not retiring this year because shit went wrong with the fucking market for him, right? So he's working more years. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think you do, Clint. Ego is the Enemy is a freaking awesome book. I'd recommend people read it. It's by Ryan Holiday. It's freaking amazing. But really, be willing to admit, like, I went to school for web design, right? And I quickly learned that I can't design shit. That's my wife. It's not me. So I went into marketing instead. I started marketing after I got out of the military. I had no idea what the fuck I was going to do, and I started marketing. So those skills that you find in other people, as you're getting help from these people, when you go down the line, what I've seen with students in our training and everything is that they'll be scared to take something on by themselves, but because of the network they have, because they know me, they know Brad, they know Craig, they know Lisa, they know other people in that community. Well, shit, Joe is a fucking guy that has a web design company, and the only thing stopping me from taking this contract is I'm worried about the web design. Work a deal out with Joe and freaking have him do the web design, take less cash and get the damn thing done and make the money you can on it, right? So that's not to say ignore, you know, the warning signs and not getting too busy, but the networking will open up additional opportunity down the line. And that's hard to see in the very beginning. You want to make what you can right away. But that's why everyone in here will say, don't quit the money you have already while you're building this. You know, you need to earn your business. You don't have the right to be a business owner until you've worked your job and your business at night while you're doing that, and doing that all at the same time and trying to make it happen. That's how you earn the right to have a fucking business, is by working way more than you need to as a regular person, because they're content having a paycheck, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Well, I think right now, 3 secrets, Lisa. I know we have a link that we're going to put in the description. Craig, I think I dropped it into chat with you earlier. Yeah, but screen, yeah. Lisa's got a really cool. I don't know. Are you putting people in your group again still, Lisa, for the sharing and everything? Or is that kind of capped out?
We started a group last week. So if somebody was interested, we'd have to get them in this group. We're probably not going to do another program until 2021.
What about your URL sharing Skype group? Are you taking people in that as well, or yes, if people are doing like video marketing or anything? So Lisa has a Skype group as well. I'd recommend getting in touch with her, and I drop links in there as well. You know, when I need something shared, it's the place I go to get additional shares and things like that. So yeah, I'd really recommend reaching out.
We have a community on Agency Fast Track. So if nothing else, get in the community. Because then when we open up another program, you know, we'll announce it in there. There's some really smart people in there. And, you know, we talk about everything from SEO and websites, and, you know, it's a community. I'm not the only one talking in there, kind of like you guys, but really it's about growth and agencies and just having a place where, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, my spouse, for example, could give a crap what I do and can't even spell SEO. So I had no one to talk to, and just having that community. If I could give you one more tip, having a community of people you can talk to will help, you know, every relationship in your world, because now I don't have to go out, you know, when I leave my office, I don't have to talk work, because I've already got that out. I've already got, you know, my friends and my communities and stuff like that. They're important.
We got to cut it. I forgot we're a minute late. Craig, you got to jump. You jump, yep. Dude. We got to drop this. Everyone, thank you for this week. We'll see you next week, and we'll probably have Lisa on again in the future, because this was a fun conversation. Yeah, so we'll talk to you all next week.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Guys, take it easy.
Later, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.